Check, 1 2 1 2. We recording, KP? Man, we are recording, guys. Welcome to Project Mindset, episode number 38. I am your host, Kevin Sturdivant, aka Coach Kevion. This is our 7 Equities series. If you don't know, the 7 Equities it's like the foundation of what we practice here at Project Mindset, which is the 7 areas of your life that we really feel create absolute abundance, fulfillment. I think it's so easy to get caught up in thinking that abundance and fulfillment and joy and happiness comes from our career, comes from money, comes from materialism, comes from looking cool on Instagram. But as we all know, there are some real principles of abundance and joy, which through the 7 Equities we've learned, those areas first and foremost are your mindset, your health, your spirituality, your soul, right? Number 4, your family, your friends, then going on to your hustle and money. So those are the 7 Equities. And if you haven't gone back, I highly encourage you guys to go and listen to the other interviews that we've done with some incredible people that we truly feel are masters in each equity. Today, we are going into the second episode on the equity of family. First equity where we actually had 2 different specialists come on. Last week, we had my dude Michael K. Kashishian, who his family, man, some of the most legendary people I've ever met. They truly represent individuals who have a heart of gold, who treat everybody as if they're their family members, and they run a huge operation where family and business is mixed together. Major shout out to Michael for coming on the show and dropping so many gems. For this episode, I brought on somebody that has been one of my closest family members, somebody who really gave me, honestly, one of the only examples that I had growing up of what marriage and being a part of a family really means. And this is my Uncle Jose Fernandez, who well over 40 years has been a major pillar in his community with his faith, being a pastor. And he's also had over 4 decades of working tightly with families in marriage counseling, couples counseling, family counseling, on top of having one of the most awesome families I've ever known. It's my closest group of cousins. My Uncle Joe has 5 daughters, and I've actually lost track of how many grandkids he has. But if you really want to take a look at a family through all the crazy mixes of emotions that you could possibly imagine, having 5 daughters, well, my Uncle Joe and my Auntie Caroline, they're really a beautiful example of that. So he really broke down the principles that you can create a beautiful family in this podcast. We went into first his principles on a premarital level. Then we went on to his key principles in marriage. Then we went on to his key principles with fatherhood and raising a family. You guys, get your pen and notepad out. I promise you're going to get some amazing gems from this. And without further ado, I'd like you to meet my Uncle Joe, Pastor Fernandez. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to Project Mindset.
Yes.
You're here in our HQ. I am so honored to have you here.
Thank you.
There was no question of who I should have as a specialist in the category of family than you. You have been, I've had 3 major figures in my life growing up as a kid.
Yeah.
You know, my father, of course, my grandpa, and my Uncle Joe.
Oh, man.
So thank you so much for
good company.
for who you are. Before we dive into the topic of family, and I love that you made the suggestion that we look at 3 areas: premarital,
Right.
marital,
Yes.
and then family. So before we do that, I think it would be inspiring for our listeners to hear a little bit of what you've also overcome over the last year, if you're open to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, so tell us about it.
Well, Valentine's Day, 2018, February 14th, that morning, I got news that I had prostate cancer.
Yeah.
So it was an incredible moments after I saw my oncologist. When I walked out of his office, he said, "This is not going to kill you." You know.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was hoping
Right.
for maybe, be encouraged or something, man. But he's like, "This is not going to kill you."
Okay.
I didn't know what to do with that. I was in shock. I was numb. I just was like, I was just in too much mindlessness. Like I couldn't think or anything, So
Just a total shock.
total shock. Third floor of this building, so I had to walk down. It seemed like a long way. I'm going to my car.
Were you by yourself?
By myself.
Wow.
Myself, trying to figure out, first of all, again, what's going on, and then the reality of, okay, who do I tell first?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. You have 5 daughters.
5 daughters,
grandkids?
my wife, 17 grandkids.
Oh my gosh.
And then my parents are still living, they're in their 80s,
Yeah.
And so I knew that I had to tell my wife. So
Yeah.
that was so tough to be able to get it out and tell her over the phone. I told her she was working, so she's an educator, and so she was working, so I had to tell her, and that was very difficult. I know that we cry together. She, Caroline is a trooper.
She is.
She is amazing. It's just a lot of mental frames that I have right now, or how she went from frame to frame as we moved along the journey.
Right.
Part of the journey was we went to the Philippines. So during that time, there was a Philippines trip planned.
Yeah.
And it was a trip where, I saw her break down completely.
Wow.
Because she was, holding it in.
How long after you were diagnosed with that did you actually go on that trip?
Maybe I was diagnosed in February. I was diagnosed.
Okay.
So it was April. April I went to the
Yeah.
Philippines, about April 9th, around that
Okay.
time. Yeah. So anyways, that Philippines trip brought us together in brokenness. I remember crying with her in this resort at the pool. It was rain coming down because
Yeah.
it was rainy that day. And just to see her, I was so glad, even though it was painful, so glad that she can get that stuff out, you know.
Right. Yeah.
And so out of that trip, we decided that I would be going to Hope for Cancer
Okay.
in Baja, Mexico. So I became a patient for Hope for Cancer. But no, I didn't go to Hope for Cancer until a little bit later. In April, the same time, but a little bit later.
Okay.
In April.
When you got back.
Yeah. But that was already had been a couple of months that I was already doing a holistic approach to dealing with my cancer.
Did you know right away? Was it pretty easy for you to make the decision to take the holistic approach to resolving this? Or did you go back and forth? And did they recommend chemo?
I think it has been a back and forth, Kevin, in the sense that it's always in the back of my mind. Why don't I just get an operation? After a CT scan or a blood test, still good, but maybe if I just get the operation, I'll be the exception, that I will do well with what comes with the operation, radiation,
Right.
other drugs that I have to take, for a lifetime.
Yeah. And did the doctors recommend that?
Yes, that's at the beginning, I was told by about 4 oncologists, UCLA, City of Hope, that I needed to get an operation.
Okay.
Immediately, get radiation, and then hormone therapy.
Wow.
And hopefully be successful in, the tumor not coming back.
Wow.
Yeah. So again, we took the first weekend, Carol and I, to research it. Okay, what is this all about? And so I think in that weekend, I didn't have, to answer your question directly, I didn't have a sense of I need to get an operation right away. That wasn't really there at all.
Wow.
In fact, it's kind of funny because I would have hoped that the oncologist that gave me the news that I had cancer
Yeah.
would have walked in the room and said, "What have you been eating?"
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Yeah.
I think you got a problem because you've caused some problems in your body, and
Right.
maybe we can correct it. But it was like, you got cancer, man.
Yeah.
It's like you got this, you know, and so that to say that I've always been one who is very pro, natural stuff.
Yeah.
And so that was in my mind already. And mainly it was in my wife's mind. So when we did that research weekend, we read some books, we looked at some videos that kind of made us understand the whole cancer scenario,
Right.
and the different options that I had. And so I think that weekend we made a decision that we were going to go holistic.
Wow.
Yeah, so I've been doing that for, it would be, a year and a couple of months now.
Mm.
Amazingly, Kevin, all my body, functions are well. All my blood tests are normal, in the normal range. I used to have high cholesterol, which I was on medication for. I have no longer the high cholesterol.
Wow.
It dropped from about 320 to 200. I have high blood pressure.
Yeah.
I no longer have high blood pressure. It went away. Asthma, allergies, everything inside is working well. But the tumor
Yeah.
is the one we're looking at, surveying to see, the shrinkage of it.
Wow.
So
Have
yeah.
you found the blessing in disguise yet?
The blessing in disguise. Help me with that one.
When you got that news,
Yeah.
when we're in the storm,
Right.
it's like, wow, I
Yeah.
don't need a storm right now.
Uh-huh.
I need some clear skies.
Right.
And then many times we find out afterwards why we had to go through that storm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you found any of those answers yet of why
Yeah,
in the world, guy?
progressively,
Uh-huh.
I think I told you earlier that, I began to deal with my mental anguish by putting into my head that there was a purpose
Yeah.
and a plan for this.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it was, but just knowing that, the purpose, plan, and then the presence of God.
Wow.
His presence, as long as I had those three, there's
Yeah.
a purpose, which I can understand now. I'm sure there's a plan. He's got a plan, but he's present. And that's what, keeps me going every day.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Because thinking
Yeah.
about it now and the way you've lived your life over this last year
Mm-hmm.
and your health now
Mm-hmm.
and how you eat now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you healthier now than 12 months
Yes.
ago?
Somebody actually
Because
said.
you look like $1 million.
Yeah.
I saw you dancing at Lola's birthday. You guys
Yeah.
are shaking it up.
Interestingly enough, someone said, another cancer patient said that the cancer was the best blessing he ever received in his life.
Yeah.
Because he was in the best, health of his life.
Wow.
I'm talking about when you do the holistic approach.
Yeah.
He was in the best shape of his life, and it's true about me.
That's
so that would be
incredible.
kind of like the blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
Well, I think, and I like to think that God is preparing me for the next 20 years in good health. What a mess I would have been
Right.
if I would have kept going the way I was
Yeah.
going. You know what I mean?
Wow.
I'd be part of statistics,
Wow.
we see my parents, they're in their 80s and they're not in good quality of life,
Wow.
So that's it. And then the other one maybe is helping others,
Yeah.
helping other cancer. I call them warriors, I think the wake-up call and the reality check was when I was at Hope for Cancer. And I was no longer the pastor with the answers.
Wow.
I was now the patient.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa. I was like, I'm a patient.
Yeah.
I'm in no better place than all these people that are
Right.
surrounding me. I was at the dining table at Hope for Cancer in the kitchen, surrounded by other cancer patients.
Wow.
And that's when that hit me.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm just like that guy. So, yeah.
Well, God bless.
Yeah. So I'm doing really well. And I got another set of tests coming up in May, to see where things are at. So
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so thankful to have you here.
Yeah.
You've
Thanks.
made a huge impact in my entire life. Really been one of the key people that I would look at and say, okay, what would, you know those bracelets that say WWJD,
Yeah.
right? And mine's like,
D.
what would Joe do?
What y'all do?
Because I've needed those examples, as you know, how for me growing up. And in 1996, you took my mom, my sister, and my brother and I into your home. We didn't have a home to live in, and you already had your home there with 5 daughters that you lived with. And of course, I think one of my uncles was there, and Lola was there. So there was already 9 people crowd, and then you brought in us 4.
Yeah.
And had you not done that, I might not have ever, because I met Alana that year. I started going to school with Marjo and Marissa.
Yeah.
10 years later,
Yeah.
Alana and I started dating.
Yeah. Right.
I think it'd be kind of funny for our listeners to hear. How did you feel about that when Alana and I started dating? Fast forward 2004.
Sure. Well, I don't want to take all the credit for it, taking you guys in or taking you in, taking the family in, because Carolyn is a major part of that. So I want to make sure that I just throw that in there.
Yes.
But for me, as your uncle and as a father of 5 daughters,
because Alana,
and I knew Alana
she was
Marjo's best friend.
Right.
So that kid was I called her that kid back then.
Yeah.
You know, she was in our home all the time. You know, so I was very protective.
Yeah.
Of course, you know. And then I knew of your whereabouts and your you know, things you were doing, man. So if I can share another story.
Sure.
And throw you under the bus a little bit.
Go for it. Go ahead.
We used to, if you recall, we had international students.
Yes.
That come
oh my goodness.
that would come and stay at our home.
Yes.
You know, and they came from Asia. They were Chinese or Korean or Japanese, right?
Oh my
And oh my gosh, you know where I'm going with this.
I know where you're going. Go ahead. Tell the listeners. You started the story.
I want to frame it right.
All right.
So listeners understand the whole Alana issue and my protectiveness, right? So anyways, long story short, we had a little beautiful Japanese girl that was part of the international students, and we had a party, a family party. And I caught you with her in the backyard.
Yes, you did.
At night in the dark. And I was like, what? Kevin! And I forgot her name, but I called her in, and, you know, that was that.
That is so funny. That was many years before Alana, just so we're clear.
Many years before
Alana. Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
Anyway, so I was concerned. What does Kevin want to do with that? Why is Kevin interested in? No.
Yeah, you were like, Kevin, she's not like the other girls. I'm like, what other girls? Come on.
But I thought it was cute, you know, my nephew, you know, JoJo's cousin, to hook up with, you know, her friend.
Yeah. I don't think Marjo liked it in the beginning either.
Right.
But, you know, it took a lot of work, too.
Yes.
Because I did have a lot to work through.
Yeah.
And we both did.
Yeah.
You know, neither of us had the right, I don't know if it's right or wrong, but neither of us really had those examples from our parents. Both of our mothers did an incredible job at setting the example.
Right.
But both of our fathers didn't. Right. And so I think that is where a large part of the challenges that we've had come from.
Right. Sure.
And so we've really had to work through those, and you've been highly instrumental with guiding me in the right direction to overcome those things. So I'm so thankful for that.
Oh yeah, it's been great.
15 years later, look at it. We figured it only took 15 years.
Here you are.
All right, so let's dive in. You have been working with families, couples, marriage counseling on top of leading your own beautiful family and your church, which you're now retired from, for how many years now?
It would be 42 years.
42 years,
we could say. Yes.
And after retiring from the pastoral work, you now are doing personal coaching for couples and families.
Couples and family, right? Individual coaching.
Beautiful.
Yeah, we have it's called Life, Marriage, and Ministry International. It's a coaching
Beautiful.
thing. Yeah.
So cool. And if anybody is lucky enough,
Yeah.
I'm the first person to say that I would Alon and I would not have what we have now without going through that work. So really appreciate it.
Awesome.
Let's dive in.
Yeah.
Starting with the premarital keys to success. We're going to go through premarital, then we're going to dive into marital, and then family.
Okay.
So let's start with premarital. When a guy and a girl are starting to figure it out, a couple starting to figure it out, before they make it official, what are some of Uncle Joe's keys to success in the premarital department?
Okay. Right to my head comes first my own relationship with your Aunt Caroline,
Yes.
right? I wish we could make that into a movie.
Look, just for the listeners,
Yeah.
it's unlike anything.
Yeah.
I do not have another example of love the way that you and Auntie Caroline have. I mean, James, my stepdad, and my mom, James, the competitive stepfather that I have, he would probably say, "Hey, what about me and your mom? It's great. It's a beautiful thing."
Yeah.
Although you and Auntie Caroline have been married now for how many years?
41.
41 years. Raised 5 daughters together. How many grandkids?
17.
17.
Mm-hmm.
I have personally watched many challenges. I've been there in the home as you work through these challenges. And at every family function, it's you and Auntie Caroline making everybody jealous at your dance moves. You guys are like professional salsa dancers. It's such a cool thing to see.
Mm-hmm.
So what comes to mind in terms of creating that before you actually get married?
Yeah, well, in that relationship, it was that initial attraction, and it was just such a beautiful story how it evolved. I think we went through we progressed, through getting to know each other, doing things together, talking. It was just a what do we call that? A site that is in progress of building it. What is that called? Building your website.
Oh yeah.
It was that just
The
unfolding
development.
and unfolding and unfolding and unfolding. And so, but as I think exactly what I would say the three key things possibly for a premarital couple would be that after you get over the initial attraction, there is that moment of are your values matching?
Are your values matching?
There's got to be a value discovery.
Okay.
Where Caroline and I really wanted to be married, number
Right.
one, but also I needed someone that can partner up with me.
Okay, yeah.
Right. I needed somebody that can see the things that I was seeing.
Right.
As a pastor, I needed someone that can really own my calling. And so this was Caroline.
Wow.
And she all along. So we just began to click in that. However, there was also her part.
Her values.
Right.
And when you say
things that were
values,
important to her.
do you think it's basically another word for, or to help listeners understand the values? Is it what's important to you?
Well, they can
What
be
you
they
want?
can be spiritual values.
Okay.
They could be financial values that you have. Just life itself.
Right.
How you value life. Your worldview of life.
Okay.
And so you have to really match that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
So those are the values that I'm kind of talking about. And so for her and I, she knew I was to be called to be a pastor, and she was willing to come alongside of that one, and I was going to say, eventually what it came down to is that she went into education.
Right.
And so I had that shared value.
Yeah.
We're both educated. We both have achieved our doctorates. I have a couple of master's degrees. She's got a master's degree. We both have, of course, our bachelor degrees.
Yes.
You know, so we valued education highly. You know,
Wow.
and so we said it this way. There was and as far as educating ourselves, it was my turn. Okay, now it's your turn.
Right.
My turn, your
Wow.
turn, my turn,
That's
your turn.
cool.
So that's how that works.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And I would
values.
I would say too, it's about then also knowing what your personal values are.
Right.
You know, if you don't,
Right.
so I would say step 1 too is, well, what are my values? Right.
Yeah, yeah. Doing that exercise
Yeah.
and really, you know, figuring that one out.
That's
right?
good.
So yeah, so values would be one, and then I think the second one is I would say is you need to be friends. You need to do life together.
Yeah.
You know, I like to think of the story here of my daughter number 4,
Yeah.
Michelle.
Yeah.
You know, which you know well. Well, Michelle and Matt took a while to get married.
Right.
I think they were in early 20s still, but
Yeah.
not very early 20s. Michelle, I'm picking on her because of her dating relationship
Yeah.
with Matt. It was very different, you know. And Matt, if you know him, you know him, but audience doesn't know him. But he's a very quiet guy,
Right.
very easygoing. You know, you can get a lot out of him. Very non-talkative.
Yeah.
I guess maybe in an intimate, close friendship, he probably is.
We talk about
You know?
motorcycles when he
Right.
had one, and that was like the
Right,
only thing
right,
Matt and I
right,
ever talked
right.
about.
So it was like, and the family the question was, Matt, when are you going to propose to Michelle?
Right.
You know, and they took a long time. I even took them out to breakfast to find out, like
How many years was it? How many years did they date before he proposed?
I think even after that, it took like another year.
Yeah.
You know,
Were they dating for like a decade?
man, a long time.
Yeah.
I can't tell you exactly.
Right.
But it was long.
Yeah.
Right. and so anyways, so Matt and Michelle are a great example because I think while they were waiting, they were doing life.
Right.
So that when they got married, you know, they already had fights and discussions and
Right.
you know, dealt with real issues, you know. So they had become friends, you know, before they embarked on you know, the next step.
Well, and the most beautiful thing, which I know it is a real thing, and this is so rare in today's time, and I'm pretty sure it is true, but they also did save themselves
Yeah.
until they got married.
True.
Yeah.
True. They were both you know, saving themselves for each other, and
Yeah.
that was a real good thing, you know. So that's a value.
Right.
So they had that value that they embraced together.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So that's the second thing, friends, in a context of real life, so that you can figure out, you know, do we match or do not match,
Right.
and not being afraid to let go, you know, getting rid of infatuation.
Yeah.
You experience a few breakups.
Yeah.
To see if you can come back.
Right.
You know, that kind of stuff. You know, then you're ready for the third thing that I
that?
would say is commitment.
The commitment.
Yeah, this is, you know, commitment is key. I know that love is a word that is used to say, you know, I love you, and that's a foundation for relationship. But I would put commitment, if not along the same side, underneath that as foundational.
Wow.
You know, because you commit to loving throughout a lifetime.
Right.
It's a lot.
Wow.
You know what I mean? But I would say there's got to be that commitment. You got to show that commitment in some way. For us, within our values, biblical values, is the ring on the finger.
Yeah.
Is you know, getting married, is establishing a home, you know, and living life and going through the steps that it takes. You got you know, the honeymoon stage.
Right.
Right. But then you got the reality stage.
Yeah.
You're living with the real person. You know, it's different than me.
Exactly.
You know, she likes the window open and I like them closed at night, man.
Right.
Kind of deal and other things, right? And then finally, if you can work through those stages and come to the stage of maturity, you know, where you've learned to live with each other, you know, you're unselfishly decided to pour into your partner and to love your partner rather than yourself, you know, all those things.
That's a beautiful
So
thing.
commitment is huge. Yeah.
Values,
Mm-hmm.
friendship,
and commitment. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which then, if all those things, you get that down packed, you get to this place where you officially get married. How many couples have you married? Do you know?
Funny that you asked me that, and I'm going to give out my age here, right? But I tell you, I've run into couples that say, you married us. So I did.
Wow.
It's like, I see the faces, they look, but I don't remember.
Yeah.
So I couldn't even tell you.
Wow.
But
Hundreds.
it's been at least 100 couples.
Yeah.
If not more.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's
it's
awesome.
so cool. It's been a good journey. I am a trained facilitator and trainer of facilitators for a online assessment program called Prepare Enrich.
Very cool.
Yeah, so I do that within my coaching, business or ministry.
Yeah.
I use that Prepare Enrich material.
Very cool.
Which is very good material. So I am very passionate about marriage.
Yeah.
And like you said, the modeling wasn't there for me.
Right.
But I decided early enough to say, this is going to be different.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So once you do it, right, and you make that commitment, how do you make it work? What would you say are the 3 keys to success by Uncle Joe in marriage?
Okay. All right. I like to mention that couples can be categorized into five different categories according to the Prepare Enrich that I use. You have the devitalized couple as the bottom of the totem pole, the conflicted, then on top of that the traditional, then the harmonious, then the vitalized.
Wow.
All of these different categories have to do and how well do you communicate and how well do you resolve conflicts.
Wow.
So the vitalized couple is agreeable when they do this assessment, which is about, I think, maybe 300 questions, right? It's questions in 9 different areas: lifestyle, communication, children, sex, spirituality, 9 different categories. And so to agree with somebody, in the assessment, and 80%, 90%, that's a vitalized couple.
Yeah.
You understand?
Wow.
But the main concept is that the building blocks of a good relationship is communication and conflict resolution.
Okay.
And
that's where it can either get really good or really bad.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. So number 2, Kevin, would be building on our strengths.
So number 1, communication. Number 2 is building
on our strengths. You got 2 people coming, like some writer said, Dwight Smalley was his name. He said that when you get married, it's like 2 rivers coming from opposite directions.
Wow.
And at one point, they're going to go, splash, boom,
right.
It's a tremendous clash, right? And then they're going to figure it out, and they're going to come out into one majestic river.
Yeah.
Right? And so that can only happen, if you learn, and let me go back again to my notes here.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. To the building on our strengths part.
Okay.
Because we're not perfect. You got 2 imperfect people, and 2 imperfect people that are very selfish.
Right.
Right? And so the selfish people want to look out for number 1.
Yeah.
Right? But when you say no, I can yield in that area. I can let go of that one because my partner or my wife is better at that.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? So let's build on your strength.
Wow, that's interesting.
And build on my strength,
I feel like, so Lana and I have been together for 15 years.
Right.
We've been married for 7 of those officially. But I feel like we just now started to do that. Like she gets certain things that for a while I think she battled.
Right.
Of how I was, and there were things that I battled how she was. And I really feel like just now we're starting to do that. Where I'm like, I know that's not her thing, and she knows this isn't my thing.
Yeah.
And we just really support each other in the things we are really good at.
Right.
Yeah.
Caroline has been the dreamer.
Yeah.
The vision board.
Right.
And, the house at Newport Beach.
Yeah.
And all this dreams, and I've had to be careful not to squelch that.
Right.
And to say, all right, but I've been the stability, all right, the management
Yep.
of those dreams. And it's worked for us fantastically.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be where we're at today if we weren't like a team together.
I get that.
Learning to build on our strengths, Yeah. So that would be that one. And then the third one I would say is, and Caroline agrees with this, we were conversing on my way down here, says, yeah, and then face anything with resolve. Any situation that comes your way, you need to face it with resolve. And I'm going to give you an example that I just saw last night on This Is Us, that very popular show. Randolph and Beth, one of the couples in there, right? I don't know if were you watching it last night?
I haven't watched the new one. I watched it before.
So they're in conflict about breakdown, rather, that they're mad at each other.
Yeah.
And it has to do with the fact that he's a councilman, or his job is taking him away from family. And in the process, Beth has come to a point where she had put her career aside, her love for dancing.
Right.
So she's discovering it, and she's wanting to, get back into it. And so for Randall, it's very easy. It's black and white, I'm first,
right.
you quit your job, right? But for her, it was like, no, I'm willing to struggle and fight and get that.
Right.
So what she does, basically, she goes on her own and goes finds a place for a studio. That's her vision. Have her own dancing studio, right? But at the same time, move the family closer to his place of work, so that they can make it work. And the interchange that I want to bring in here is that they have this concept called the door, or the open door, right? So when she does this, she comes back. They come back together. Randolph is sitting there waiting to communicate about this big conflict they have. He's got a solution. He's going to quit his job,
right?
But she takes him to that concept, and she says, "No, Randolph, you're not quitting your job. I found the door.
Wow.
And it's about that, It's about working together in any situation of life, and there's always a door. When our oldest daughter got pregnant, and she's a great woman today and loves God and tremendous. She's a USC graduate, but she got pregnant at 17. That brings a strain on the marriage.
Absolutely.
Right? How do you face that? The cancer that just came last year.
Yeah.
How do you face that? And you got to resolve that. You're going to find that open door. There's a way to we'll figure it out together. But not give up.
Yeah.
Don't defeat yourself, by giving up. Don't take it personal. I mean, see it as a team effort.
That's
Work
beautiful.
on a solution together,
So number 1, commitment.
Yes.
Number 2, build on each other's strengths. Number 3, face everything with resolve, having the mindset that we got this. We will figure this out.
Figure it out so you can move through life. I
saw a quote somewhere that just talked about how, I don't know what the exact quote was, but it just mentioned how much easier marriage is when you can understand you're both on the same team.
Right.
Whereas when Alana is tired, and I'm also tired, and she asks me to do something, if I don't think about, hey, she's on my team, let me go and do this, and I get stuck on, well, I'm tired. There's a challenge there.
Yeah.
But when you really can understand that you're both on the same team and do our best to resolve things for each other, man, that's a game changer.
Yeah. And just a little skill that might be helpful here is that I had to learn to practice a skill of publicly, family setting, giving credit to my wife, giving credit to her, being able to say together we got through whatever issue was part of life,
Yeah.
Whether it be getting better financially or achieving a goal or a dream. Caroline this or Caroline that.
Awesome.
And Caroline is really good at that.
Yeah.
She's always talking about me and Joe this and Joe that.
That's cool.
So it's that team concept where it's a team together. Yeah.
What are we on? Number 4?
Number 3.
Number 3. Number 3 is resolve.
Oh, okay.
Right.
We're on number 3.
Yeah. Okay.
Of the marriage. faced with anything with resolve. First was build on our strength. Okay. First was
communication. Yeah.
And then build on our strengths, and then face anything with resolve.
Love that.
Yeah.
Woo! Good stuff. All right. Well, now you get that rocking, and then you go into this colorful thing
called little kids.
Kids, and you throw kids into the mix. You got to write a book on how to do this, because 5 girls. I've got 2 now. You got 5.
Yeah.
What are the 3 keys to success with raising a family?
Wow. This is amazing. If you come from a broken family background like I do, and like you, Auntie Caroline, my wife, have, I think that sets you up. It can either set you up for a vision or a dream or a passion, or it sets you up for failure and continuing on a down spiral that you came from. So for me, that's to say that the first key is that you have to have the passion for family. You have to have the passion for, being a parent, for, playing the 2 roles, husband and then being a father in my case, or being a wife if it's my wife, being a mom and a wife. So, but there has to be that passion first. So I wanted to be a good father.
Wow.
I was determined. They say on my watch, this is not going to happen.
Yeah.
I took my watch very seriously, And so after Caroline, and she's number 1, my family, my kids, my girls were first. So I remember, that spells out. And again, Caroline did a lot of this, but I'm just talking about myself. My experience is that I spent time with them.
Having a passion for it.
Having a passion for it.
Because you think about it, so many of us, if you look at me, Marina, and Quinn, right? And if you look at your girls,
right?
Take all of us, and 90% of us had kids unexpectedly outside of marriage. Right? Where it was like not really a part of our plan. We got thrown into having a family.
Having a family, yeah.
So your number 1 is being passionate about the concept of family. Yeah.
Yes, that's number 1. And the girls were right here.
Yeah.
And I was doing anything that I could to make it work and be connected with them, whether I was playing or put in my bed at night and tell them a Bible story, or, that was my role, my calling, and I embraced it.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you did a legendary job, that's for sure. Yeah, now you got a whole bunch more work to do with the grandkids. So what's your number 2?
After you get through this one, is being a learner. What did I know about parenting?
Right. Yeah.
If I did it like my ancestors, forget it, man.
Commitment to learning, being a learner.
Commitment to learning and models in my life, embracing mentors and embracing books and embracing conferences and embracing anything that I can get my hands on.
Yeah.
So that's what drove me to, I said, I'm not going to be my family of origin. I'm going to be different.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go and get that, degree in marriage and family counseling.
Awesome.
Because I want to learn and have some skills, and I'm going to stick to somebody. We're going to look up to those model couples that we see. There's the Dwayne and Joanne that walked us through big family breakdown, or the big thing that you didn't expect, and they showed us how do you walk through this, how do you deal with the pain, how do you go to the next step, or whatever. They were there for us. So so it was like that all through life. We had our models, and we had our learning, our pastor. So definitely be a learner and
That's
continue
huge.
to learn even today.
It's huge.
You know, it's
Never
it's
really
huge.
stops, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So just so I'm clear,
Definitely.
even when I have 15 grandkids,
Mhm.
you haven't reached a point yet where you're like, oh, I got it all figured out.
No.
Right, good.
And it is
I got a
about,
lot more work to
shuffling
do.
your time but being a learner, and I love that I can text Bella, one of the grandchildren,
Yeah.
and just say I love you, or I'm proud of you, or you're special, and I do all this texting, and then leave it there. Long and behold, a week, 2 weeks go by, and then she's in trouble. She was in particular instance, and she texts me,
Yeah.
Grandpa, I need to talk to you. It's like,
Wow.
whoa.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's how it works.
Yeah.
I build this connection
Right.
of love and relationship unconditionally, and that opens the door for something greater.
Wow.
You know?
That's beautiful.
Yeah, so that was cool.
Number one, have a passion for it. Number two, that commitment to learning, being a learner. What's your number three key to success with family?
Okay, key number three to success with family. All right. I would say do family together. Do family together. So many memories.
Yeah. When I think about you guys, I think about family meetings.
Yeah.
Like you guys would always have family
Yeah.
meetings.
Yeah.
My family, my mom, my dad, me, Marina, Quinn, we'd never had a family meeting.
Okay.
I literally don't think we had one family meeting. And I would watch you guys, because my parents were together till I was
Right.
maybe 10 or 12. They would only stay together for maybe a month at a time
Yeah.
before they would break up and
Mhm.
back and forth. But I would watch my cousins go through these things, and you guys would do family meeting.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, that's interesting. My family, we don't do meetings.
Yeah, well, I think we had a family meeting once a week.
Wow.
Or if something was going on, we definitely would, have a family meeting.
Yeah.
But I'm talking also eating. We ate together.
Right.
And we had conversation together. We dealt with, hard things. We talked a lot. The girls know that we were we're going to resolve any issues that were coming along, and having vacations.
Yeah.
Going on trips. Girls have memories, great memories that we didn't have a lot of money,
Sure.
but because we were servants in community,
Right.
we got a lot of freebies.
Yeah.
Staying at a cabin in Big Bear for nothing, or
Yeah.
something like that, or going to a big pool in Hacienda Heights of this rich friends who had
Right.
a pool, and we couldn't afford a pool or
Yeah.
go to a pool.
But just
So they
doing
opened
life
up the door,
together.
but just doing life together as
That's
a family.
beautiful.
And I think if you see them today, the girls, they're family people, they're people persons.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we did family together, and we're still doing family together.
So cool.
So
With Marielle and Marissa and Marjo and Michelle and Macaulay and what has formed now, it's like, oh my gosh.
yeah.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah. And Kev,
We're getting there.
I know, and I see life. I
We're
see
getting
life,
there.
and I tell them that right now that they're all in their 30s,
Yeah.
in their mid 20s, and this is what I see happening. I see life unfolding before them, and I'm like, I learned that I can't live that life for them,
Right.
and what I do is I pray, and Caroline and we pray for them,
Yeah.
because they have to do life.
Yeah.
You have to do life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But we hope that the skills and the relationships and the dynamics that we had as a family as they grew up is going to come into play.
Yeah.
And it's going to, carry them through
We're
it.
getting there.
And they're going to get stronger. So, yeah, I'm really proud of the girls.
Yeah, me too.
They're just doing life and with what do you call that? Bumps and bruises, but they're doing it well.
It's so awesome
Yeah.
to see. And it's cool that we're all like learning together
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
I look at my youngest of your 5 daughters, Nicole, I'm like, how could I not be inspired? I'm like, oh my goodness, she has
What is she, 26 years
She's
old, and she's got 5 kids?
Yeah, and 4 under 3, 3 and under. Are you crazy?
Right.
But
yeah.
who she's become as a mom, and all of them, every single one. I can find strength and learn from each of your daughters.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
the example you and Auntie Caroline have said, I
Yeah.
really appreciate. What are your 3 affirmations for family, marriage, all the above? Do you have three affirmations when you think of marriage and family together? Are there 3 thoughts that come to mind where it's like, that's it? That's what I always tell myself about this thing called family.
Yeah. Yeah. Big on the top of my list would be an affirmation that says, I can do this. I can do this through the power of God.
Yeah.
That's a big value.
That's
like,
huge.
through the power of God, I can do this today.
Yeah.
I can do this. He's got it. That would be that. Another one would be I choose to love family. I choose to love my wife today. I choose to love my kids at this baseball game, or
That's beautiful.
go to this party. I choose to love. I choose to be there. And then I choose to stay through the hard or the easy, because hard does come, and so just being available, whether it be, hey, Dad, I've got, I can't pick up the kids today because I'm out somewhere, and this is a single, the one that just her husband just died, Marielle.
Yeah.
And they need a ride, and getting out of my comfort zone and saying, I'm needed right now. This is important right now. So that idea of just, even when the boat is rocking, just deciding to be a stand up for family.
That's beautiful.
Whoever's going through something, don't give up on them.
Yeah.
Stand up for family. Just it's so important. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. and my world revolves around those things,
Yeah.
God and family and life that's happening every day.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to be alive and be able to help other people too.
Absolutely.
So
Well, thank you, Uncle Joe.
Thank you, Kevin.
Pastor Fernandez.
Thank you.
For the example you set. I'm really excited to share this with our listeners. I know that there are so many gems that people who are soon to be married will take from this. With those of you who are in the thick of it, and you're maybe newly married, and those who are raising that family. You really shared some great keys, and it comes from a huge pool of knowledge, a mountain of insight. So thank you so much.
Thank you, and I wish everyone the best in relationship is what it's all about.
Absolutely.
So hopefully, what I share, some of the things that I share would be helpful to many. Relationships is what it's all about.
100%. Thank you, Uncle Joe.
Thank you.
Project Mindset. We are out of here. That's it, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to episode 38. Major thank you to my Uncle Joe Fernandez, to my beautiful Auntie Caroline, to all my girl cousins, Marielle, Marissa, Marjo, Michelle, Macaulay. I love you all so much. So proud of every single one of you. And for everybody that's listening, I hope you guys got a lot out of that. This is really an example of how to make it all work. It reminds you of one of my favorite quotes on family, and it goes something like, we may not have it all together, but together we have it all. So as always, I'd like you to think about your family affirmations. Post it, write it. What are the 3 affirmations that you want to always remember about who you are with your family, with that future legacy, with that current legacy you're living each and every single day? Make sure you guys go and check out our website, projectmindset.co. It is like officially up and running. Major shout out to The Secret Weapon. My dude is coming on and absolutely killing it. What? Major shout out to my dude KP. Are we recording, KP? Yes, we are. Every single week after week, doing it for you guys. Share this, post it, put it on Insta, put it on your story. Let us know what you're getting out of it. And as always, you can follow me at Kevion, Kevion. Things that I'm doing between life coaching and selling real estate all over Southern California, living my life in a way that does its very best to inspire others to believe in themselves and know that their life has an extraordinary purpose. Stay focused, stay inspired. Thank you guys so much for listening. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.